author, traveler, and entrepreneur, best known as the founder of Kunzum, a platform celebrating travel and storytelling. I would request everyone to please give all of them a very huge round of applause. Due to some emergency at home, Mr. Ajay Jain is not able to join us today on stage, but can we have another round of applause for all the panelists sitting on the stage, please?
Yeah, is it on? Yes. So I welcome you all. It's my pleasure to have such an esteemed panelist. And more than that, it just shows that how food connects all of us together. Mr. Ranjan Sodhi, who's been closely associated with the university, is an Olympian. And he's going to share with us how food in sports gives us energy and builds the I think it's not working. It's not working now. Increase the volume of the mic. Sorry for the inconvenience. I was saying it's a pleasure to have Mr. Ranjan Sodhi with us today, who's been an Olympian and who's so closely associated with the university. I would like to ask you what has been your experience, your journey as a sports person, and what is your take for food? How does food help you to give you better energy? And what are your directions to all of us to build up the resilience and the energy to be a good, wonderful sports person?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here. When Ritika told me to be part of this panel, I told her what will I share in this, but she insisted that I be because I can talk about many stories around sports and I've traveled a bit in my life. So thank you for having me here. And you asked me a question about lifestyle in sports. In fact, there are so many things, I don't know where to start from, but I will share a few very interesting stories around sports person and food, which probably a lot of you don't know about. So we as athletes, we train to peak in August because Olympics happens in August every 4 years. So our lifestyle changes for 4 years because you have to be on the peak performance in August for that particular year, but you got to train yourself for the 4 years building up to the Olympics so that you know exactly what to do in May, what you need to do in July, and what to eat in May, and like that, so forth and so forth. So it's very interesting. A couple of things I'd like to share with you. In 2010, you will not believe I was 115 kgs weight. And so my nutritionist told me that you got to maintain your weight from 2009 to 2010 October. I said 115 kgs to maintain for a year and a half, not an easy task. So anyways, I went on a very high calorie and a very high protein diet. So I go to Asian Games, and while I was there, and I wanted to have like 7,000, 8,000 calories, and I couldn't find a place where I could have that much of food at one point. So what I did, I went where the sumo wrestlers were having their meal, and sumo wrestlers generally have a lot of potatoes and rice. So I started eating with them. I was wearing India tracksuit, and I walked out of the dining hall, and Sania Mirza walks up to me and says, "Oh, I didn't know that India has sumo wrestlers." So I just kept quiet, and then next few days later, I won the gold medal, and then she realized I was a shooter. So we do a lot of things, like a lot of athletes, like wrestlers or boxers, they have to maintain their weight because they fight under a weight category. Even in shooting, we do maintain our weight because a gun fit goes off. So that's one thing. Like it's not easy, and then you have a very regimental lifestyle as well because you got to eat the right food at the right time. I'll give you an example of swimmers. I was at the Olympics and McDonald's was there. McDonald's is the official sponsor of the Olympics every time. So swimmers have about 10,000 to 12,000 calories a day. So I saw Michael Phelps standing in front of me. He ordered for 20 burgers, 20 McDonald's burgers at one point of time, one given time. I thought he's taking it for the entire team, but he consumed it all by himself. Now, 300 calories is a McDonald's burger, so 20 burgers he had in front of me, and I was like, oh my God. So, sports person from across different sports, they have a very different eating habits. And I'm a big foodie myself, coming from Firozpur, Punjab. So, obviously, as a child, I would always spend more time with my grandmother learning all the recipes, the old recipes of Punjab, Malwa region. And like in my house, I make the best achar because I learned it from my grandmother. My mother doesn't make the achar. She tells me, okay, you go and make the achar. So food is something which unites. Like Mr. Anand mentioned that the best time is to spend having a meal with the family, which I absolutely agree. As athletes also, we spend a lot of time eating together across different countries, people from different countries, we all, and that's the best time that we have a good conversation and everything. And so I'm also from St. Stephen's Eco Honors, and I haven't forgotten about the mince, like you mentioned about the street food of Delhi. So the mince cutlet is still the same. I just happened to go there a few months ago for the Silver Union. So the mince cutlet is still there. So yeah, there are many, many stories and a lot of other things that athletes do very different, but it's a short time, so I will not take too much further.
I would like, that's really interesting. Now, Ishi is sitting here, and she'll talk about a different palette altogether, and you're talking about food where we're ordering 20 burgers. Ishi just won't agree with me, and she will not let you eat. But what is that you would like to tell the chefs here that they can build up their energy levels and they are able to perform better in the kitchens? Any suggestion from
Chefs, see, for me, food is a lot to do with mind. So we like, if it's raining, I see a lot of people are. The mood, everything plays along as far as food is concerned. So, if you go to a hill station, you won't have a different kind of food. If you're, go down south, you won't have a different kind of food. So, also, mind plays a big role as far as your fooding habits is concerned, I guess.
That's absolutely correct. So I move on to my next panelist. Ashita is the old friend, and she's from UN. And when I asked her, invited her that to be a part of the panel, she says, what am I going to speak? I have nothing in common in food. I said, she's absolutely wrong. Food unites people. Food brings people together because we are having 4 meals a day, don't forget. So now I want to know, how does a country unite another country, and what is that commonality that you think food will bring together us on the table?
Thank you, Gunjan. First of all, grateful to the Manav Rachna Foundation to bring me here. And it's really true when she said, come for the food list, the hospitality lit fest, and I said, food and lifestyles, look at me, I don't represent good lifestyle. So, so I laughed. And then I said, having traveled extensively around, especially the Silk Route, I served here for 14 years with the UN in South Asia. I was in Afghanistan for 5 years and 10 years in Central Asia after the many years that I worked. And what really was a common string that I found, and I'm not sure how many students know about the Silk Route. The Silk Route is a great example on hospitality, but also it is not just a trade route, it is reflective of culture, the culture of sharing, the culture of hospitality, and also it represents that how in one common place, one common kitchen, you can cater to almost 50 different cultures that you come together. So as I traveled around in Central Asia and in Afghanistan, you found these caravanserais. These were dotted on the entire route where the traders, the nomads, the pilgrims, and the armies moved around. So what was the kind of food that was cooked? And this is common not just to one particular country, and therefore we say the food on the Silk Road doesn't belong to one country. It belongs to the world of the Silk Route. So, in one common area, which is the caravanserai, many people who were there, they were looking for a pot of meal. So what was the defining factor? It was basically really dealing with scarcity, dealing with the fact that you can thrive and be happy with what you get. And it also shows this culture that we can come together to eat this food. I'll give you 4 examples where is the cultural fusion of different kinds of food. One is the biryani that we eat. I'm sure all of you have eaten biryani somewhere or the other. This biryani is not really native to us. It is really borrowing very heavily from plov, and plov which has features from the Persia, the Turkic regions, but also Central Asia and Afghanistan. And when we added our own spices to the meat that we got, or also the veg biryani, it really turned into food that was native to us. So I think this is what I say, that when we travel around, we also absorb and we also learn. The second is that all of you love the Chinese, the noodles that you have. So what we call in Central Asia lagman, it came from China. And there's a handful noodles that actually mix with meat as well as with vegetables, and they became very native to the entire region. Mantis, the momos that you get on the street, actually, if you see, they origin from the Mongols and the Turkics nomads who traveled around. They wanted something which was easy to boil and then eat, and they sort of, when you come to Afghanistan, these mantis or momos, they are eaten with chane ki dal and also with tomato puree that you have. So we have all evolved because we are willing to learn, we were willing to experiment, we were willing to learn. On the Silk Route, there's another element which is important, that is how long can the shelf life of the food be. So you have the yogurt that is there, kurt, what we call. It is dried kurt that you put into your pocket. Sometimes when you mix it in water, it becomes a soup. Let me also talk about the kebabs, which we all love. The kebabs basically were roasted meat on a sword. So actually, the soldiers found it easier to take that meat and then roast it there. The most important lesson that I get from all this experience is that how do you manage fuel? How do you manage a single pot to bring in the flavors? Because if you cook in one pot, you need less water. You can also mix a lot of stuff together. It is a fusion that counts. And basically, I would say the third thing is the lesson from Silk Route cuisine was that don't waste anything. So if you took the animal from start to finish, was used for different parts of it. Similarly, it also used seasonal variations. The samsas that we eat today, or samosas are called samsas in Central Asia, samog in Persia, and also in Afghanistan, the samsas are there. So during the spring season, they have green samosas, samsas, as they call it, because that's the representation of the spring. And I would say that all of our food, has a cross-fertilization. And for me, I believe that when I travel, not only do I see the things, the various monuments, and also understand the culture of different places. So the cultural fusion that happens, I believe travel is educative. And for the hospitality students and to the chefs, I would say, I think we have ability, especially because of the diversity of food that the Indian market can offer. It's a great place for us to look at fusion, to look at how we can support and let people know and appreciate the different nuances. We had the spices that enabled us to cure the meat for longer. So what was important? Divisibility and also inclusion. And the most important lesson was sharing. The plow is cooked for, let's say, 30, 40 people. We never cook for 5 people. And very often, the main meal is cooked by women. But on Thursdays in Uzbekistan, men cook the plow. And it's a community exercise where everybody comes together. We tell the stories. We share the tea. And I think we also have the dastarkhan on which everybody eats. And look at the gurdwaras. When we've had the struggles, including in COVID, I had to salute. The gurdwaras were the common space from where the food was shared with many people who required it. And similarly, I would say that it is the culture, as somebody mentioned this morning, is when you cook the prasad for everybody, not for one person. So the concept of sharing is so critical. And last but not the least, conservation of water, which is very important. So the chai, the khanats that are all over Central Asia also reflect that when you boil the water, it is drinkable, it is usable, And there are many, many stories. So if you look at Mullah Nasruddin's stories, if you ever Google that, they will tell you how many stories come around the food. So we are what we eat, and we learn from the food that we eat also. Thank you very much.
That was very interesting. Anyway, I'm going to come back to you with my questions. I move on to Sahil. Sahil Baweja is a known name in the food industry. We resonate his name with contemporary dining. He has such lovely restaurants in and around Delhi. So Sahil, now I would want to particularly ask you, how do you decide your menu? See, it's the menu that makes the restaurant and brings back the customer. So you have to have a complete menu where when a customer walks in, is able to find something to his palate, something to his taste. So what is the deciding factor, A? B, what are the changes you have found over a period of time since you start your restaurant business? Over to you.
Thank you. First of all, such an honor to be here with, with such great contemporaries and stalwarts of the hospitality industry. And great to see such a great turnout for a beautiful event. Thank you for having me on the panel. And as I was listening through the panel, we talked about food as a personal choice, and then as food as history, culture, bringing nations together. And where we operate, I personally and my company, we are living in the age or the socio-demographic strata of excess, right? So for food, for this customer is actually entertainment. Right? It's not personal fitness, it's not personal survival, it's not a national cultural indulgence, but just entertainment. So within that, the first thing we do, I always as a restaurateur would assume the chef to be the heart of the restaurant. You have to honor the chef's thought process. And although, you could build projects, you could build brands where the music and the ambience, everything else plays an equally or even sometimes a more prominent part. But I think food is what builds loyalty. Food is what people really come back to a place for. And, I've had the privilege of working with Chef Weber, who's right here. So we built Chika Loka in Noida together. And we've, had to adapt very much to what's happening in the market, in that consumer segment. And it actually varies very strongly as I've worked through tier 1 cities like Delhi, Bombay, to going to tier 2 cities across Punjab, Gujarat. And they have different trends, different culture preferences, and you have to discover what is happening in that city at that moment. Because food, for us, becomes an embodiment of that culture at that time, at that space. It's almost like a history book, right? Which when we look back, because if you're selling butter chicken gujia in Noida or avocado sushi roll at the moment, who would have thought that would be happening 10 years ago, right? When we opened a boombox in Lucknow, we actually had a plethora of Turkish, Lebanese, sushi platters happening all across Lucknow. Who would have thought? But as we've seen a big resurgence in ownership of indigenous experiences, more India-focused cuisines coming back, people owning up their cuisines for health, for culture, and for personal experiences, as we've seen the resurgence, which helped us in thinking about launching this restaurant in Mehrauli, where we had the privilege of having you and Sir dine with us. So which we combined. Now we are thinking of how Indian cuisine can actually influence other cuisines, and we merged Indian and Mexican cuisine together. Because Mexican cuisine is something that's more accessible, it's more simpler, it's more easy to understand, and we're merging new cuisines, new formats, and we've seen people from different age groups indulge in this now. For some people, some menus are celebrations. They would come to go through the entire experience as a celebration. For some, it's an everyday comfort experience. So for us, deciding on the menu starts from the chef. We focus on what the city, what the demographic really needs, what's happening in the market at that moment. And as a business and MBA graduate, I would also always consider what the economics are. Where you're opening, it's not a personal indulgence, right? It's not a passion project. When you're in the business of it, the menu has to reflect what will sell, at what cost, and is the consumer understanding what we're trying to sell. A lot of times I've seen, even I've gotten carried away, that you're stuck on an idea, but it's the wrong place, wrong time, with the wrong rental. And then, you can't run that. So yeah, that's how we kind of get to a great menu.
So we have an Olympian who's telling us to order 20 burgers.
Yeah.
And then we have Ashita to tell us cross-border culture.
Yeah.
someone to talk about contemporary food. This all culminates into mind, body, soul, to which I come to Harsh. He's running a wellness center, and I tell you, it's a beautiful center. One must go and visit. All of you are here present. I should say you must visit once to check what is it. So Harsh is giving us a complete solution in case we go wrong in our food, and I'll ask him to elaborate further and tell us how is he helping the society and people coming in for the food industry.
First of all, I am thankful to Manav Rachna and Gunjan ma'am for uh, giving a chance, opportunity to me to speak my heart and brain through the subject which is food and lifestyle. So I am a founder of an organization which is called Hu Ha Ho. So these are two first letters of these three words: human, HU, happiness, HA, and hope, HO. So we are doing this since almost now 7 years in India and Australia. And I think food and lifestyle, these are two integral part of we Indians, because we Indians stands for like physical strength and the mental toughness which we own. If we check our history of last 2000 years or maybe 500 years or 100 years, so हर किसी ने आके हमें कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करी है और फिर भी हम ख़त्म नहीं हुए हैं. मतलब अगर हम चेक करें, it is not about Mughals or it is not about Britishers or it is about like, अगर हिस्ट्री में जाएं तो सब हमारे यहाँ पे व्यापार करने आए थे. लाइक हमारे मसालाज, दे आर सो फेमस. पुर्तगीज़ को भी वही चाहिए थे, फ्रेंच को भी वही चाहिए था. सो आर फूड इज़ लाइक एवरीथिंग एंड वी आर, आई थिंक वी आर बेस्ट इन द इंडस्ट्री. इससे पहले जो पैनल पे मैम थी, शी ऑल्सो सेड कि हम जैसे फूड वर्ल्ड में किसी के पास नहीं है, एंड वी हैव ऑल मेडिसिनल प्रॉपर्टीज़ विद आवर फूड इटसेल्फ. अगर हम बात करें तो हमारा जो करंटली एक मंत्रालय है विच इज़ कॉल्ड आयुष, तो उसमें हमारे फूड का एक पूरा वर्टिकल है विच इज़ कॉल्ड सिद्धा, वेयर वी क्योर पीपल. इट्स ए साउथ बेस्ड मेडिसिनल ट्रीटमेंट विच इज़ बेस्ड ऑन फूड इटसेल्फ. हम डॉक्टर के पास जाने से पहले घर में हमारी माँ, हमारे नियर एंड डियर वंस, वी ट्राई टू क्योर आवर सेल्फ थ्रू फूड. डॉक्टर को बाद में याद करते हैं. एंड वी हैव ऑल द सोल्यूशंस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी हैव हल्दी. सो हल्दी इज़ नॉट हल्दी, इट इज़ हल्दी. इट गिव्स ऑल सोल्यूशंस. बॉडी में इन्फ्लेमेशन होता है, बॉडी में स्टेमिना बढ़ाना है, वी नीड ग्लोइंग स्किन, वी नीड लाइक वट एवर. सो वी हैव ऑल सोल्यूशंस इन आर लाइक फूड itself. So food is very important to build our physical stamina. The second is the lifestyle. We know what kind of challenges we all are facing in today's time because of our food habits and our lifestyle. Like people at young age, they have thyroid, they have diabetes, they have insomnia, they have a lot of problems at the younger age. The solution is only food and the habits. So my request to all youngsters and especially the students who are our torch bearers, who are the nation builders, they should enter into, like they should understand what is our culture, what strength we own as an Indian, and we should amplify that to the world. So food is very important, and it is directly complement to our lifestyle. If we have right, and it is rightly said by the one of the panelists before this session, that food defines everything. जैसा अन्न वैसा मन, अभी उन्होंने बताया था. उससे मैं आगे फर्दर लेके जाता हूँ. जैसा मन वैसा तन, और जैसा तन वैसा धन. ये चीज़ें हम लोगों ने सुनी है जो फर्स्ट रो में बैठे हुए हैं. आई थिंक वी born and brought up by listening all these things. So food is very, very important. And my request to all students and who are present here, and the Manav Rachna management, who are really worried about their career after finishing their education, what will they do? Definitely the career path is very important, and you guys are in the right industry, because जिसका खाना अच्छा होता है, जिसका जो तृप्त हो जाता है, जिसको सेटिस्फेक्शन मिल जाता है, उससे बेस्ट कुछ नहीं है लाइफ के अंदर. And you guys are like handling that sector. So important आप उगाएं भी वैसा, और खिलाएं और खाएं भी वैसा, और उससे पैसा बनाएं. For you, important is to set your career commercially viable. So you are into right industry. So important कि हम organic को generate करें, organic की demand को generate करें. आज this is the need of the hour. We know what kind of adulteration is happening in the food industry. So we should refrain, and world is looking for it. There are so many examples. Haldi is not ours. It is now patented by US. And every 5-star property, 7-star property in the world, they are offering golden shake and turmeric latte. But वो तो मेरी नानी दादी ने पिलाई थी ना, वहाँ कैसे चली गई? Because हम भूल गए उस चीज़ को. Same way, there is a company called Organic India. The name is so fascinating, which reflects India. But actually the owners were like foreigners. They use our culture, they develop everything. Now this company is bought by Tata Group. You know the value, 2,500 crores. So people are coming here, they are like encashing our culture and they are minting money. So why not our youth, are like everybody sitting here. So my request is, generate organic. The people who are well off, they have their own land. Please encourage organic. उससे भूमि का सुपोषण भी होगा और cultivation भी better होगा. Plus उसकी demand है. You go to any international place, any hypermarket, maybe it's a Costco in US, Walmart, everywhere. They have a different section for Ayurveda, and that is ours. But we are going towards allopathy side. So request is just to understand our culture and enter into, and we are the best in the wellness industry in the world. You go to anywhere, people are crazy about it, especially after COVID. ओम की चैंटिंग चल रही है, ओम हमारा है, ओम भूर्भुवस्सुवः हमारा है, बट हम भूल के बैठे हुए हैं. हमारे बच्चे सुबह उठते ही नहीं हैं, उनको पता ही नहीं सूर्यदेव कौन है, बॉडी में विटामिन डी है नहीं. तो ये सब चीज़ें डिपेंड करती है लाइफस्टाइल को. सो वी कैन अवॉइड दिस. एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट इज स्टिल वी आर रिच. वर्ल्ड की सिचुएशन बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब है. वी आर डूइंग हु हा हो. सो द इम्पॉर्टेंट इज़ होप. अगर आपकी होप आएगी, और होप आएगी उसी एज ब्रैकेट में जो स्टूडेंट्स यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं, विच इज़ लाइक समवेयर अराउंड 15 to like 25-30. जो पेरेंट्स हैं 35 to 55, दे आर लुकिंग एट देम कि ये खुश है तो मैं खुश हूँ. वी आर अर्निंग रिसोर्सेज फॉर देम, और हमारे पेरेंट्स हमें देख के खुश है. सो द इम्पॉर्टेंट एज ब्रैकेट इज दीज स्टूडेंट्स. सो इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर देम इज प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड योर कल्चर एंड हैव प्राउड एंड प्राइड ऑन दैट, और प्रोपोगेट इट एंड मेक मनी आउट ऑफ इट. बाहर वाले लोग पैसा बना रहे हैं. एवरी इंटरनेशनल प्रॉपर्टी इज ऑफरिंग योगा. मॉर्निंग में बीच योगा हो रहा है, शाम को एक्वेटिक योगा हो रहा है, और सब कुछ हमारा है, और हमारे बच्चे सो रहे हैं. तो प्लीज़ मेक मनी आउट ऑफ इट. वर्ल्ड को एक्सपेंड करें और पैसा बनाए. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Harsh. Coming back to you, Mr. Sodhi, please suggest some fantastic food that the young chefs can have and be a marathon, can be leading a marathon, who can be a good Olympian someday. Maybe they can be a food Olympian. So any suggestions, any references for them?
Well, as athletes, we eat everything. We indulge in everything. There's no one particular thing that you must have to be fit or, to go and win a medal there. But we indulge in everything. Whatever comes our way, we do. But it's regimental, like I mentioned earlier. You have to know when to eat what and which month to have what. So that's very important. So we, other than our sport, we work very closely with nutritionists, psychologists, all of them. We have a great team of people who tell us what to eat in which country. So if I'm traveling to Southeast Asia, I know exactly what I have to eat and what's available there. We do a lot of research. Like if I spent 7 years in Italy, I was actually staying in Italy because my coach was Italian. So he would insist whichever country we would be going and competing in. Like if I would go to South America, I would find out which are the restaurants close to the range and where I'm staying, which hotel I'm staying. So what are the good restaurants? What is the menu? What is the possibility of eating what food? So we do a very extensive research, when as athletes we travel. That's part of our job actually, to do that. What do we have at the airport? What do we have during the flights? If it's a long flight, how to be hydrated? So it's very extensive research that we go into, because whatever you eat actually reflects on the field, because it's not only physical, because a sport like shooting, you got to be mentally alert. So what are the kind of food which doesn't slow you down? You're 100% there on the field when you're competing, from your eyesight to everything. So hydration affects your eyesight, your concentration. So staying hydrated is also a lot of importance. So we do indulge in a glass of wine once in a while. So then you need even more hydration. All athletes do, we also humans end of the day. So we need to also unwind and have a nice glass of wine and once in a while. So we are any normal people like any one of us. It's just that we know when to do what, and we are taught to do and do the right thing at the right time at the right moment. So yeah, that's it.
Very interesting. Shita, you have traveled the world, I believe. So now tell me, what are the commonalities between the Indian cuisine and the food outside? And what do they see Indian food as? Because, you know, staying there, you're an Indian, you must have cooked some Indian meals, you must have invited some friends. And what was your reaction? You know, maybe merging some food or maybe carrying some ingredients and that you have incorporated here after coming back to India and settling here?
Gunjan, an interesting question, as I mentioned earlier. I think I realized the value of cross-fertilization across countries. As I said, biryani, which I thought is mine, and when they had the plow, which was more oily, and when I started serving on my tables biryani, my guests began to appreciate the different flavors. The first time when I cooked meat, it was like a regular curry, and one of my staff members said, "Ma'am, what's the point of cooking meat when you can't smell meat?" And for me, I had learned that actually you need to get away with the meaty flavor so that before it's served on the table. So many ways we cross-fertilize, and by the time the 10 years that I spent, I had people began to appreciate the nuances. I had to control chilies so that they can appreciate it. Sometimes we douse our food with chilies and therefore it's unedible. I also learned the fact that, increasingly, the fuel efficiency, which is so important, and especially in the time when gas is limited, we need to bring back the cultures of our tandoors. I remember when I was small, my aunts would take the dough to the tandoor, and they would make the tandoori roti and give us dal.
But it was called Sanja Chula, if I remember.
Sanja Chula, exactly. And I think that's such an important community, source. And now when the gas was limited, I remember going to a friend's place, and I said, why don't we activate the tandoor? See, one tandoor in Afghanistan serves 200 households. And similarly, the Nanwai in Uzbekistan does the same thing for at least 100 to 200 people. So I think common kitchens and communities, kitchens is something what I think that we need to bring back into the hospitality world. And I think it is not just the upper echelons that need to be addressed, but we need to look at the common people and how we can bring these things together. And, one of the things I would say is that there's a cultural difference. When I stayed in Afghanistan, it was garrison living practically. We couldn't go out, we couldn't walk more than 100 meters. And every evening we would come together and a group of us Indian friends would cook together. And in my room, we would put the food on the table and invited the other 35 to eat. But we began to notice that the others don't share their food. So I think we should not give up this practice of sharing. But the survival method is by sharing, and I think we need to cultivate that practice. And one small thing I'd like to mention, and this is because, you also take, I didn't know what buckwheat is all about. So when I went to Central Asia, I realized the significance of buckwheat, and I really felt, I used to ask these women, they get pregnant, they become so thin, and everything. So what I brought back with me is that you can use this grain in a creative manner, and that you can at least, it's an important one to even lose weight. But the main thing on the table in Central Asia is the salad. So the culture of increasing salad on our tables is very important. Ishi, I've been your patient and a client at one point of time when I was in Afghanistan. I haven't been regulating my practices, but I would say so much value in what you say is that we are so dependent on wheat, but the multi-grain processes that were part of our culture needs to be brought back, and I think that's what I learned also in Central Asia and Afghanistan, that it is seasonal, it is important to make sure that we're not making it only carb heavy. So Gunjan, there's a lot, and as I said, I love to talk, so I don't want to do that. But thank you, because it's such an important thing. The food is the binder of the community. And I can tell you that our cuisine is so welcome. I invited the Italian ambassador and along with 10 others. And he said, I go from Italy all the way to London to eat dal. So I asked him, what do you want to eat? And he said, I want to eat the Indian dal, the dal makhani and the dal fry. And that's something that is so native to us. He didn't ask me for chicken, but he asked for dal, which is also really, I think, something that we can cook really well. So this is one example I'm giving you.
Yeah, I would come back to you saying that you use the word nanbai and tandoor. We have nanbais even now. And the tandoors that we have actually was for community cooking. This culture particularly in India came post-partition. So Punjab is full of tandoors, where they have one tandoor and the entire mohalla would come and make their rotis. Likewise, it is all over. barring the South, because there, food does not travel outside the kitchen. Food is only limited till the time it is in an enclosed area, because they consider food to be something very sacred. And they don't like to put the food on street like others, because that is a different living altogether.
Thank you, Gunjan, for pointing that out. I think different regions have different cultures. So I think it's important that we bring back some good community practices. I really feel that now we must come together, and the nanwais need to be promoted. They're a very important part of our food security chain. And the culture of taking out one fist of food from your first food that you cook, and the first future parties go for the other people. And these are the things which could be imbibed into our value system. And since I mentioned about caravanserais, there are two things. They said, a traveler, you have to share your food. In Uzbekistan, you don't bake ever one loaf of bread. One is for yourself, and second is for the guests. So I think that thing about this is mine, it needs to change, and therefore I really think that culture of the tandoors, the sharing, and if there were more people coming over, we would just add more rice to the floor of things. This is a concept which I think is important. Chef Manjeet Gill is actually our ambassador on the food security and the UN also. He just mentioned to me, actually this is what we're trying to say, is that food security comes in from sharing, not from creating a scarcity syndrome. And I think that's where I feel that our culture that you mentioned from Punjab and other places could take this across. And in South, because you can cook idlis and keep them away. Whether the garam rotis ka concept never allows a woman to get out of the house.
Absolutely, I agree. Sahil, I have a very funny question for you. When I was in ITC and I was cooking, and somebody came inside the kitchen and said, "Do you have a vegetarian chicken?" And now that was very amazing, and I was wondering, how can a chicken be vegetarian? So do you have any such thing in your restaurant?
So I tell a funny story. I'll go up. So I used to run a restaurant in Toronto back ages ago. And a Canadian woman once came, and she fought with me of why we were serving a golgappa cold. Like for them, understanding like a fried thing is being served cold with cold water was just unimaginable. And I had to explain. So, things like these always. Of course, now we have a lot of mock meat. Right?
No,
so that
no.
makes it easier. We use jackfruit to replace the lamb texture often. But I think I would call a vegetarian chicken an organic chicken, as you mentioned, like a chicken fed on grass-fed chicken.
Very interesting. We are running short of time. I had few more questions for you. I'll pass it on to Harsh. Harsh, what is that you would like to tell the students here, that they are able to maintain an equilibrium between their mind, body, and soul, that they are happy, as you said, ho, ha, ho. How is that possible for them to practice?
So this is who, ha, ho. I think their families look at them for their happiness. Their society, we as a society look at them for their happiness. And they are the nation builders, and they are the torch bearers. So important for them is to spend time with their families at least once in a week. They have like joint, like खाना इकट्ठे मिलके खाएं, exchange करें अपने views को, whatever they have in their heart, they start sharing with their maybe elder or younger brothers, sisters, or maybe parents. So that is important. So for them to become happy and to become successful in life is create a connect. Avoid digital a little bit and start connecting with your parents. That's very important. You are everything for them, and they are doing best for you. Maybe मैंने भी यही बोला अपने parents को, आपने किया क्या है, पैदा ही तो किया है. हर generation यही बोलेगी, यही चलता है, ऐसा ही होगा. But we have to feel that you are a family. You all have to be together to be happy. One, and there has to be one objective for the entire family. Like if you want to become a good chef, so you have to convince your parents, or your parents should convince you for the other stream. So you have to understand your DNA first, what is your family background. Because हर माली अपने पौधे को जानता है, so you have to respect your parents, your elders, your seniors, your gurus, your lecturers in the college, everything. So if you do that, automatically you will become prosper, one, and you are already into best industry, which is food, जो सबको satisfy करती है. Food के बिना कुछ नहीं चलता. आज लड़ भी रहे हैं ना, कोविड के बाद कई देशों ने तो अन्न उगाया ही नहीं है, कई इंडिया डोनेट कर रहा है, कोई और डोनेट कर रहा है. So आप समझो ना, you are like very important in the entire like global system, which is food. Food chain का बहुत important part हो आप सब लोग as a youngsters. और जैसे मैंने आपको example दिया ऑर्गेनिक इंडिया का, हल्दी का, बाकी सब चीज़ों का, तो we have to understand कि people are minting money out of it internationally. We can do that also. हम उसको inferior ना समझे, अपनी चीज़ों पे pride करेंगे तभी चीज़ें चलेंगी. Otherwise बाहर से लोग आएंगे और take off कर लेंगे. पिछले 3 हफ्ते पहले एक ad आया हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स में, which is a front page ad, जो कुरकुरे ने दिया है, और वो ad था ज्वार कुरकुरे. और आज से 5 साल पहले अगर हम ज्वार की बात करते तो हम बोलते थे ये तो जानवरों का खाना है. Please understand, sattu is a super powerful drink which gives you direct protein. But हम कहते हैं ये क्या करेंगे, हम तो protein X खाएंगे, which is nonsense. Please understand, please propagate, please brand ambassador for your own food. Kurkure जैसी international companies, they are working on millet, but we are doing nothing. तो understand, हमें सबको मिलके करना पड़ेगा और individually take a like initiative. Fail होंगे बहुत अच्छी बात है, because failure is also part of success. आप ये मत सोचो immediately आपको success मिल जाएगा. You have to like invest yourself, your time, your dedication, your brain, experience होना पड़ेगा. और उसके बाद you can do wonders. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, एक चीज़ और दिखाता हूँ आपको अभी. रुचि मैम आपके बैग में वो था bottles. Sorry, time is short, but that's important to showcase to the world. So I've been to US three months back, right? So I've been to Starbucks. I ordered a coffee. Fortunately, I saw these 2 bottles at the Starbucks, I think, which is one of the like premium coffee shop, right? So this is turmeric shot. ये मेरी नानी और दादी ने पिलाई है, वो बेच रहे हैं. They are making money out of it. This is $5. And the cost is hardly 5 rupees. 14 रुपए की बॉटल है, 3 रुपए का स्टिकर है, 4 रुपए का माल है, 20 रुपए का 500 रुपए बना रहे हैं. ये जिंजर शॉट है, अदरक. हम अपने बच्चों को देते हैं तो वो नाक मुंह सुकड़ते हैं. बट जो एज ब्रैकेट फर्स्ट 2 रोज है, हम सब ने तो पी है ना, हमें पता है ना इसके फायदे क्या है. $5. दिस इज यूएस स्टारबक्स. सो जितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आपने पूछा क्या करना चाहिए, आई थिंक दे शुड एंटर इनटू इट एंड दे शुड मेक मनी आउट ऑफ इट. पैसे के लिए तो आप लोग अपना करियर सेट कर रहे हो. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you very much. And really enriching. We've learned a lot. I thank you all. So, that's it.
Thank you everyone for this engaging discussion. I would like to invite Dr. Ritika Singh, Mr. Anand, Chef Manjeet Gill, and Mr. Neeraj Chandok on stage to felicitate our panelists, please. Sir, you too, please. Can we please have a huge round of applause for all the panelists on the stage? Thank you, everyone. I would like to invite Chef Gunjan Koila to deliver the closing note for this wonderful and amazing ceremony. Chef Goila, may I request